Okay, so this is our first official night with the GoPro. Last week, I just did a little introductory, just kind of going over why I wanted to do the book, what I thought it would be good for, and things like that. Eric Worre is a multi-million-dollar earner in the network marketing business. He's been doing this for over 25 years. He's very knowledgeable, and he's been very successful. I actually got to see him at my very first leaders retreat for Plexus. He was in Amelia Island, and that is when everything changed for me. I was a product user. I was a wholesale product user for an entire year before I really became interested in the business or really understood the business. I heard a little bit about it. I got to silver. I really didn't mean to get to silver. I didn't even really know what that meant. I just had 3 customers that happened to want to be wholesale buyers too. So the first year, I didn't really do anything with this business and didn't really see the vision or the opportunity until I sat under Eric Worre, who is the author of GoPro, which is what we're going to go over tonight. And I sat with him under his teaching for 4 days, and it was absolutely incredible. It completely changed my life. He's a very powerful speaker. He's been through a lot. He's a self-made millionaire, so he's really easy to relate to. He's still down to earth and very humble. And he teaches the art of network marketing very simplistically. So for me, that was really good because I had never done network marketing. I didn't really know a whole lot about it. And I wasn't interested in anything complicated. So I wanted something that I could apply, that would be simplistic for my life. And he taught 7 very simple steps to network marketing. And I listened and I took notes. And I learned a whole lot. I came home from that leaders retreat and signed over 30 people in 30 days. So I applied the steps from this book directly. I used nothing but what was taught and what I learned at that leaders retreat, and it was this book. And so I know that if you can learn these steps and if you can understand them and learn how to apply them in your daily life, y'all can really, really take off in your business. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited because it's a very easy read. A lot of times when I say I'm going to do a book club or we're going to go over a book, everybody kind of freaks out and like, oh my gosh, these books, are so difficult or hard to, understand or apply. We do a lot as leaders in the company. A lot of jewels do John Maxwell, and he is another great person, but he's very different because his writing is more intense and it's more, for me personally, it's harder to dive into and harder to really apply those things that I'm reading. They're great, but I have to read a John Maxwell book 2 or 3 or 4 times before I really fully understand. This GoPro, you can literally sit down and read probably in like an hour or 2. It's that simple. So that is exactly what we're going to do over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks is we're going to break down this book chapter by chapter. You guys can ask me questions. We're going to talk about how we can apply these steps, what you guys think about this. So this is going to be like a very laid back class, if you want to call it. But we're going to go over about 3 chapters a week. So tonight we're going to do the first 3. And I know some of you do not have the book yet, and that's okay. We're going to just go over the highlights of each chapter. And once you get the book, you can kind of follow along. If you don't have the book tonight, don't worry about it. Just kind of listen in. The first chapter is network marketing isn't perfect. It's just better. So in this first chapter, if you've read it, you'll remember he's talking about, feeling unsatisfied in what you're doing. He gives some examples. People usually start naming things they don't want in their job, okay? They don't want a boss. They don't want to commute. They don't want employees. They don't want alarm clocks, the politics, all the negative stuff. And then some people start to use their imaginations in a positive way, and they visualize things that are positive, and they say, what do I want? What's something that I do want? Something positive, great products, unlimited income, residual income, enjoy the people you're working with, time freedom, something meaningful, lots of perks, low risk, things like that. He's talking about what we want in jobs, like what would be our perfect job. And that's something that is kind of fun. If you think back when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? Can you remember like the first thing that you can remember from your childhood saying, I want to be a ballerina, or I want to be a famous person, or I want to be a policeman, or whatever? I think it's fun to revisit that and see, what is it that you used to want to be? What was that first thing that you wanted to be when you grew up? And why did you want to be that? What was it about that drew you in and excited you about that job? And so he kind of goes over in the first chapter, all jobs that I know of fall into one of these 5 categories, okay? Blue collar, we're all pretty familiar. My husband is blue collar worker. He has been his whole life. Blue collar is typically you're working physically. You're working manually, manual labor, hard work, the opposite of white collar, which would be like an office job. White collar, you go into a cubicle, you check in a time clock, things like that. You sit behind a desk. That would be white collar. He goes into saying that sales is another one, salespeople. And then traditional business owner, someone that starts their own business or opens a restaurant or something like that. And then there's the investor. He talks about investor as in like the stock market, things like that. And if you have any, if you've ever known anybody in that business, that's a super risky business. That's something that you're either super, super good at because you've been doing it a really long time and you've probably lost a ton of money, but then you've learned and you've invested and you've made a lot of money, but that's something that's very difficult. Sales is another thing. Sales can be really, really great or really, really horrible. You can go, if you don't have something that you love to sell, or if you have a certain quota or you're in a bad area, there's kind of like negatives to all of these. And he kind of just goes over that. Eric Worre is big about talking about the new economy, how things were in the past and how things are now and what the economy is looking towards in the future. And I think that if you read that in more detail, you'll tend to agree. Things are a lot different now. My parents' generation, you went to college, you worked, you went out and you got a job and you worked for that job for 20, 40 years, you retired, and that was what people did. I mean, that was what everybody did. Now that's not what really typically happens. You go to college, you go from, working a job for 3 or 5 years, then you transfer to another job and you work, 5 or 6 years there, then you transfer to another job and maybe you work 10 years there. And then you retire at maybe, if you're absolutely lucky, 40% of your pay, and not much. And now, if I talk to my dad now, he's in his early 60s and he's an engineer and he has a great job. He loves being an engineer and but he's done the same thing. He's bounced around for several different companies, but now what they're paying him, they wouldn't have to pay a new young guy straight out of college. So they're getting rid of those older people that have the education, have been there longer because they demand more money. So it's a cutthroat world out there. That career-minded person, that business-minded person that goes to college and gets that job, there's a lot of negatives in those things. And that's what he kind of talks about in this first few pages. Then he goes into talking about what's the difference in network marketing and what are the perks of network marketing? What are some of the things that drew you in or, made you interested in network marketing? One of the things I want to ask you guys, and you can unmute yourself for this, is I want you to, you can say 1 or 2 things that in your mind would make the perfect career. Like what were 1 or 2 things for you personally that would say, this is my perfect job? Can any of you guys give me an example? What is something that you would think would be your perfect job? What's a perk of your perfect job?
I want to refinish furniture out of my garage so I'm home.
Right. Why do you want to do that though?
So I don't have to travel to Michigan to work.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you enjoy doing. That's something that you really enjoy. You like to go find a piece of furniture and look at it and think, man, that could be something totally different. Like I can make that so pretty and so different, right?
Yeah, it's my passion. I can just look at something and just see what it can be.
Mm-hmm. And that's great. That's awesome. And that's giving you freedom to kind of do what you want instead of clocking in or going to Michigan and having to go travel to do your work. Yeah,
Right.
Cara, setting your own hours and being your own boss. I mean, who doesn't? Who wouldn't want to set your own hours and be your own boss? I'm not sure there's anyone that can say they wouldn't want to be their own boss or set their own hours. The majority of people, that would be a perk. I think a lot of times what draws people into network marketing immediately is the money, the potential of the money. And I think sometimes that could be a double-edged sword, because I think it deters people and keeps them from network marketing because they don't think it's attainable. So they hear all the stories and they see the few people that have been really successful. And so they think that's too good to be true. Like, there's no way they could make $1 million being a network marketer. There's no way that she drives a Lexus just for being an emerald. There's no way I could do that. So in turn, I think it draws people to network marketing, right? Because they're like, man, they're driving a Lexus. Like, they're staying home and they're making money and they're living that lifestyle. But also I think it could hurt because a lot of people don't buy into it because we're programmed to think that that's not possible. We live in a society that says that that's too good to be true. We've been taught you have to go to school, you have to spend money to go to school and get an education, and then you have to go work at a job. You have to be someone's employee. That's just most people's mindset. They grow up thinking that they're going to be someone's employee. They go out and look for a job. And what Eric Worre is telling us is that there is another way. And actually, it's a better way. It gives us the freedoms and the perks that we can imagine about our perfect job. And Eric Worre says this all the time, that we do have the most amazing profession in the world. And I agree. I mean, sometimes I was sitting at a training this morning and we were talking about just what we do. And sometimes I was telling the new girl, after 3 years, sometimes I still have to pinch myself. Like, I ask myself, like, am I really doing this? Like, is this real? Like, am I getting this paycheck every month? It's very humbling and very surreal that we do get paid a lot of money to share products that I love and I'm passionate about. And, recruiting other people to use the products and recruiting other people to be able to be in the same position that I am to earn that kind of money. So it is really still, after 3 years, it's a pinch me moment. It is out of the norm. It's not, what everybody's doing. It's not how everybody sees things, and people really don't buy into it. So the biggest thing that we have to tackle as far as recruiting into network marketing is disbelief. It's unbelief that you can be successful and that you can make money by doing direct sales or by doing network marketing, because people just don't believe it. They don't believe that you can join a company for $34.95 and have the potential in a year or 2 years to make upwards of $500,000. People don't believe it. So your first obstacle is to get people to understand that we do have a better way. It's not for everyone, but it's available to everyone. Does that make sense? You're going to have people that are really skeptical and they don't buy into it, but as they watch you and as you're consistent and as you are growing, they're saying, wait a minute, Susie's doing it. Like, I didn't think anybody could do that. I really didn't believe that, she could be successful. And here she is a year later and she's still, plugging this Plexus stuff. She's still all about this Plexus stuff, and apparently it's paying her bills. Little by little, we're growing and we're building and we're planting seeds to other people as they're watching us, and we don't even know it, because they're skeptical at first, and it might take them watching us and saying, wow, maybe there's something to this thing about that Susie has been telling me. Maybe there is something to this network marketing thing. Let me take a look. But I think our biggest hurdle is getting people to believe it, to buy into it. And I think when we kind of pose it to someone and ask them, hey, what would if you could do anything in the world, what would you do? Or if you had the means to do anything you wanted to do, what would you do? That kind of gets people thinking about, well, what would I do? I don't know. And you ask them, hey, what, if you could, pick 5 things for your perfect job, what would they be? And most people are going to say, be my own boss, make my own schedule, make a lot of money, have fun, and be able to retire. And guess what? We can offer them all of those things through network marketing. Those things are all possible with what we do. It's going to take work, but it is possible. I can tell you right now, if you go into a job, I don't care where you're at and what it is, you're not going to have those same capabilities. You're not going to be able to be your own boss at a corporate job, at a blue collar job, at a white collar job. You might get to be the boss one day, but there's always another boss. Does that make sense? You're not going to be able to make your own schedule, more than likely. Not 100%. You're not going to be able to take vacation whenever you feel like it. Take a day off when your kids are sick. Or if you want to take 2 weeks off, randomly. Most people cannot do that in a traditional job. Most people, even doctors and lawyers, believe it or not, are not making what a diamond ambassador is making. They're not. And look how many double jewel families we have in our company. They're pulling in, diamonds are making between $450-ish, upwards of $500,000 a year. If you have 2 of those in your household, you're making some serious bank, right? So I don't know any job that is making that kind of money. So we do have, in network marketing, you do have the means to have the perfect career. You just have to build that belief. You have to believe that you can do it, and you have to believe that it's attainable. So that's what he's kind of talking about in the first chapter. And I think that that's just a really good approach when you're talking to someone, especially someone who is cynical. Either they've been burned by network marketing before, they've signed up with a company and they were not successful, or if they just have a really stank attitude about network marketing, it's because they haven't bought into it. They don't believe in it. So posing it with a question like, if you know someone is totally against network marketing or they think it's complete crap, you could just tell by their attitude, asking them questions like that. What would you do if you could? What would be the 5 biggest perks if you could, name them in your career? And then say, hey, guess what? All of those things you could have with network marketing. Then it makes them think about it. You can share a diamond documentary with that person. You can share someone in the Jewels testimony that, have retired their job or are making, a $500,000 a year, or have, super awesome time freedoms that they homeschool 11 children, like, the Martins. I mean, it's amazing what our career, not even Plexus, but network marketing on a whole, it's amazing what it can offer. And that's what that's what the draw should be, is the possibilities of what it brings. Because like I said, at their current job, I can guarantee you that those possibilities that they name that they want are probably not possible where they're at, and so it gives them something to think about. So I think that that's just a really good philosophy, and it's a really good mindset to go into, especially when you have someone that's just not loving network marketing. He talks about the new economy. He says, the world as you know it has changed. For the people who don't recognize that fact, it will be it'll be the worst of times. For the people who do, it will be the best of times. And he says, over the last 100 years, an interesting phenomenon has occurred. The rise of the corporation became the standard in society. The safe and respected place for people to exit the workplace was an employee. Same type of thing. We're taught to go to school. We're taught to go to get a career, get a job. You work for that company, you retire, and that's it. Like he said, step 1, go to school and learn how to become an employee. Step 2, find a company that will employ you. Step 3, work for that company for 40 years. Step 4, retire. He said, in recent decades, the promise of being rewarded by the company for your loyal and hard work has been exposed as a myth. People began to realize the loyalty they were giving to their company was not being given in return. How many people do you know, maybe someone in your family, maybe a friend of yours, that has worked for a company, dedicated their time, their life, their energy, and then has been let go because they could hire someone else and pay him half as much, right? My uncle worked for FP&L for 40 years. 40. Every hurricane, every horrible weather we've had in Florida, everything, he was the first one, he was the last one to go home for 40 years. He was going to retire. He was maybe a few months from retirement. They went to lay him off right before he retired after 40 years. 40 years of dedication to a company as big as FPL, and they could hire someone younger, someone for a heck of a lot less money, and that's how fast it was. There was no loyalty there, and that's what all of us, we're all at risk of getting that. There's no guarantees in the corporate world. There's just not. When you're someone else's employee, you're subject to somebody else. You're not in charge of what goes on. You always have that possibility. Odie and Brian are on my team, my Plexus team. They were both working for a bank. We know, they were in the housing market before. The housing market fell out, and they were doing foreclosures and remodifications and all those things. Sorry, guys. It was a very reputable bank, okay? They were both working there. They're young, they're doing really well. They came in one day, and it was like the pink slip. That was it. And Brian was out of a job. And Odie was pregnant with their first child. And it was like, one day he came into work, and that was it. They had to reduce his area, and they were just letting people go. And that totally rocked their world. Very, very shortly after that, they let Odie go, knowing that they had just let her husband go. It's like, that's the risk you take when you're not in charge of your own career, when you're not the one making the decisions. So I think that is way more scary than risking something like trying a network marketing company, starting and putting $35 out for an opportunity that could, with some hard work and dedication, pay off, where you're the one that's in charge of your life. You make the decisions. You're making the money. You're able to, spend time with your family. You're able to dictate your future. Being in network marketing now, I always say there's no way that I could ever go back to working for someone else. Because when you get that in your blood, when you have that vision, and you see what you can do, and you have that freedom, it would be extremely difficult to ever go back to the other way, because it's just so freeing and so much possibility. So, like I said, I think that is a perspective that you have to give people who are in the corporate world, or working for someone, and are fearful of network marketing. Give them some, things to think about. Is it maybe a possibility? Could I do that? Is she really, is she telling the truth? Is this something that maybe if I worked on or even tried, that I could be successful at? And as if they take that jump, and if they get into network marketing, we know they can be successful if they do the work, and if they learn the skills to master network marketing. And that's what he's going to teach us. So I think that first chapter is really good. I love his perspective on that. And I love that he challenges people to really look at what would be your perfect job. So that was the first chapter in that book. The second one the title is, If You're Going to Be Involved in Network Marketing, Decide to Be a Professional. Decide to go pro. I love this. And this took me a long time to understand and adapt. I thought I understood it, but I really didn't. When I talk to you guys about going all in or being 100%, sometimes when I say that, you think I mean working in this business 40 hours a week. And that's totally not what I mean, but it kind of sounds like that, right? If I say, I want you to go all in 100%, be 100% sold out for Plexus, and do, be all in. You're thinking, a lot of people think, oh gosh, she wants me to be working this business 40 hours a week and going to meetings and traveling and talking to people and blah, blah, blah. That's not what I mean. And when someone said that to me, that's kind of what I thought too, what that meant. He talks about the stages of network marketing. He said there's 3 categories of people in network marketing. I've seen them all. I've been them all. They are the poser, the amateur, and the professional. And I'm going to kind of go through each one because I think that I have gone through each of these steps, and it took me a while to recognize them. But when he talks about being a professional, it's not talking about being 40-hour-a-weeker. He's talking about treating your network marketing business like a business. Okay, hear me. He says, treat your network marketing business, so treat your Plexus business like it is your business. If you were to go open a restaurant, what kind of effort would you put into that restaurant? 100%, right? You would want to do everything you possibly could to make that restaurant a success, right? It's the same mentality. It's the same mindset that I want you to take with your Plexus business. It's not about working 40 hours a week. It's about treating it like a profession and being a professional, going pro, doing everything that you can to make your Plexus business the most successful. And that's being professional and treating your Plexus business like a business. You cannot be successful in this business if you don't treat it as a business. If you do this as a hobby, or if you do this just for fun, if you do this just as something to fill your time, or, just whatever, you're going to get paid like a hobby. You're going to produce like a hobby or a part-time gig. And most of you don't want that. Most of you want the big paycheck. You want the successful business. You want the continuous ranking up into jewel status. And if you do want that, you have to treat your Plexus business like a business. And that means clocking in to your business and then clocking out. Whether it's 40 hours a week, 4 hours a week, or 40 minutes a week, you have to clock in and be 100% there and engaged in income producing activity and treating it like your business. And then when you're done with your allotted time, you check out and you spend time with your family, or you do whatever else you have going on in your life. But being a professional is treating your Plexus business like a business and doing it 100% all in when you do it. Okay? He talks about the first stage of your network marketing business. You're a poser. Okay? A poser treats this profession as a lottery ticket. They're hoping to hit it big with as little effort as possible. I want you guys to think for a second. Ask yourself if you've ever, and be honest, you don't have to say it out loud, but be honest. When you started, right now, anytime since you joined Plexus, have you considered this like a lottery ticket? And have you thought, well, I want to hit it big, but I want to do as little as possible? If you're honest, you're going to say, well, hell yeah, I have, because I know I did. I was like, well, great, this is awesome. I'm going to join this company and I'm going to be, I'm going to go to Diamond, and I really just don't want to do anything, but I really want to be a Diamond, I've thought about that too. I thought, okay, I've got this big, exciting new thing, and I'm so excited about it. I'm like 100% ready to roll. And then 2 or 3 days go by and I haven't done a single thing. I haven't read any of the manuals. I haven't listened to the trainings. I haven't gotten on a Zoom. I haven't really plugged in. But in my mind, I'm like, I want to make all this money. But if you reflect on that and think, have I done that? We've all done it. We've all been guilty of that, right? He says, when I first started out, I was a poser, hoping to ride on my mom or my dad and his partner's coattails. Luckily for me, I got some results and it kept me going, at least in the short term. But I think you can agree with me that remaining in the poser category is a bad idea. Within about 90 days, I moved out of the category and became an amateur. The poser, I probably stayed in the poser stage for a really long time. Probably close to the whole year that I was just using the products, only because I thought maybe I could make money with this. I thought there might be something to it. And I was just hoping that it would happen. I was just like, okay, I'm so excited and, maybe it'll happen. But I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I wasn't doing anything at all. I had no idea what Plexus was. I had no idea about the company. I couldn't tell you one single thing about the compensation plan. I had no idea how I was getting paid. So I was a complete poser in the beginning. And I think that everybody is. We go into it in that stage because we don't really know. And it's that excitement, feel good because someone's recruited you onto their team. So it's that feel good, excited, and they're excited, so you're excited, and you join, and you're like, yes, I'm going to do everything, and I'm going to go to Diamond. And then it's like a week's gone by, and you're like, what have I done? Absolutely nothing. Okay, and so then we start drifting off, and we forget what we're doing, and we lose interest, and we don't do it, right? The key is to move out of that poser phase pretty quickly so you don't drop off and go inactive. Right? How many people on your team right now can you think, oh my gosh, they were total posers and they left. They didn't stick through the poser phase and grow into the amateur phase, right? The next phase is the amateur, okay? It says amateurs focus on different things. One of the things I continued to focus on as an amateur was luck, okay? Think about this. Think honestly. I was really hoping to get lucky and sign that monster distributor who was going to make me rich. We've all heard the stories of some person who had their lives completely changed by one sign up. In reality, even if some of those stories are true, it really doesn't serve our profession very well because it makes people spend their time hoping for a big hit. I see this every day in Plexus, every day. Someone says, if I could just sign that rock star, if I could just get that one person that's going to take off and they're going to make me rich and get me a Jules. Be honest, you've all said that, right? We've all said that. We're like, man, I just need that one person. I just need a Celeste Gwen, right? We all want a Celeste Gwen. I want a Celeste Gwen too. We all have that idea, right? It's okay for a minute, but it's not how we're going to be. We're not going to be a Celeste Gwen, okay? That's the difference. And hear me. We all want to have a Celeste Gwen, but sometimes we're not willing to be a Celeste Gwen. And that's the difference. The key is learning the difference. We can't hope. We can't sit and think, okay, if I could just get one rock star. We have to learn to be our own rock star. We have to learn the skills. We have to get out there and do the work. And we have to become our own rock star. It's not about luck. It's not about one person. And I love the fact that our compensation plan is set up that it isn't about one person. One person cannot bring you to the top. You have to find more than one person, and you yourself have to be a rock star if you are going to become a Jewel. Everybody who is in Jewels, everybody who's made it to at least Emerald is in their own right a rock star. They have put in the time, they have put in the effort, they have put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and they have created a rock star within themselves. They have rock stars on their team too, but they've created them as they become one themselves. So I think that is just absolutely brilliant. Okay, he continues and says, the second thing I focused on as an amateur was timing. Okay, I was always worried about timing. Did I get in early enough? Could I be the youngest top level person in the company? How many other leaders were already in my local market? Where were too many of us to compete? Okay, he goes in and talks about all the things that we think of. And the awesome thing about Plexus is we don't have to worry about any of that. And see, in network marketing, the majority of people do have to worry about that because their compensation plans, they pit them against each other. Most companies, people battle for territory. They battle to be the first one in the area or, the biggest in their town. We don't have to do that because we know that the success of other Plexus ambassadors helps us be successful. Why? Because it raises our pay point. Every time, I want you to think about this and I want you to remember this for the rest of your time in Plexus. Every time you cheer another Plexus ambassador on, every time you're happy about another Plexus ambassador's success, your paycheck gets bigger. How awesome is that? To know that you want your sideline people, you want everyone in Plexus to be great, because guess what? They've just put money in your pocket by being great. That is the awesome thing. That is what Tarl and Alec, the vision was not to pit all of us against each other. Wasn't to battle it out to the top. It wasn't to fight over territories and fight over who we wanted on our team. No, it's not like that in Plexus. We don't have to worry about those things. We gain by everyone's success, and everyone else gains by our success. And I love that about our company. He goes into saying the third thing I focused on as an amateur was positioning. Was I in the right organization? Did other people have a better positioning than me? Maybe I didn't have the right upline. Would I do better somewhere else? Another thing, let's be honest. How many times have you said, if I had a different upline, if I had a better upline, if I had someone more like me, if I had someone that did better training, if I had someone that was a little nicer, if I had someone that spent more time on me? We've all said it. I, unfortunately, didn't have anyone to bitch and complain about because I just didn't have one. I never had one. I never had someone to say, I wish they did more than me, or I wish they did better. But I've complained. I've said, man, if I just had someone, if I had someone to support me, if I had someone to train me, if I had someone ever patting me on the back, if I had someone recognizing me, I've done it. I have been guilty. But those things could be true. They could be valid. Maybe I would have been better off with someone cheering me on. Maybe I could have ranked up faster if I had someone training me and encouraging me. But the bottom line is, we all have a choice. If you sign up and you never see your sponsor again, the bottom line is you 100% can still be successful in Plexus and make it to Diamond without a sponsor. It's up to you. That is the beautiful thing about this. It is up to you. I don't care if you have the most rotten upline in Plexus. She could be terrible or he could be horrible. But guess what? You don't have to let that affect your Plexus business, because Plexus gives us every tool and training that we need that's available to us, that if we never spoke to our upline again, we could still be a Diamond ambassador, right? So that's part of the beauty in our compensation plan, and that's what I love. Okay, the fourth thing he focused on as an amateur was shortcuts. Oh, this hits home. I was always looking for an angle. Any gimmick that came down the road, I was up for it. Newspaper advertisement. Okay. Help wanted signs on the side of the road. Let's go do it. Passing out flyers at the mall. I'm in. Going door to door. Let's try it. The internet didn't exist when he was an amateur. Just imagine how crazy, he says, how crazy I would have been all over the internet tactics if I could have used them. What that meant was every time he heard some shiny new training that someone put out, he wanted to go over there and try it. It was always a shortcut. And then he says, I finally made a decision to go pro. It says Wikipedia's definition of a professional is, this is good, listen, a person who is paid to undertake a specialized set of tasks and to complete them for a fee. My definition of network marketing professional is a person who is an expert at the skills required to build a large and successful network marketing organization. That is so true. A network marketing professional. We are a person who is an expert at the skills required to build a large and successful network marketing organization. So we need the skills, right? We have to have a set of skills to grow a large, successful organization. It's not about a lottery ticket. It's not about luck. It's not about shortcuts. It's not about your upline. It's about you making a choice to go pro and be a professional and learn these skills and master these skills so you can grow a large organization, so you can build a big business, and that you can be successful. That is the amateur phase, okay? He goes in to say, there is a phrase in our profession that does more harm than good. It says, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. The point of this phrase is that it's better to be excited and ignorant than it is to be empathetic and smart. That may be true, but why do we have to choose one or the other? I love that. And he said, let me give you an example. And this is really good. He says, let's say you were in need of an operation. Okay, you had to have an operation. At the hospital, you meet your doctors. He comes in and says, I'm very excited to conduct your operation. I'm so passionate about it, I could hardly sleep. No one on earth wants to help you more than I do. And you say, wow, thanks, doctor. How long have you been doing this type of operation? And he says, well, I've never had any schooling on this particular operation, and I've never practiced, and I've never done one, but it doesn't matter because I'm so passionate. How are you going to feel about that? You're probably not going to want this guy cutting you open and doing the operation, right? Even though he's super excited about it, and he's got the passion, man. He is on fire for you, but he says he has no idea what he's doing. Probably don't want to go with that guy, right? Okay. How are you going to feel, right? Enthusiasm is great, but eventually you need to marry that passion with skills. That is the truth. That is the bold, blatant truth. You have to have a happy medium of both. You cannot build a successful network marketing business and make the money that the diamonds are making with just passion and excitement. You can't. You have to have skills as well. And we all know that. Everybody who's seen any of the successful people in our business know that yes, they may be excited and yes, they may be awesome and so passionate, but you also know that they have developed skills. They have developed all the techniques and the tools that are getting them to their destination. It's getting them to that large, built business and those big bonuses and rank advancements. They're marrying their excitement with a skill set. We have to have the skill set. Okay, let's see. Chapter 2 just says, decide to go pro. Where do you think you're at? If you take an honest assessment, and you do not have to tell me, you can just think about it. I want you guys to really think about these things and answer honestly. Where do you think you're at? Are you at the poser phase right now? Are you? Or are you maybe past that a little bit and you're an amateur? Are you kind of trying to figure it out and you've made a little excuses, but you kind of want to do it? Or are you at the professional phase? Are you a professional? Are you ready to go into being a professional network marketer? Are you ready to really go pro? I want you guys to think about that because there's no shame in being a poser because I've been one. And I know other people may still be at that phase. There's nothing wrong with that. Eric Worre, he's been all over the entire world. He's a multi-millionaire. He started as a poser. He admits to it. And he stayed in that position for quite a while. Then he grew a little bit and became an amateur. He stayed in the amateur position for a really long time. And then he grew into a professional. And now he's a world-renowned network marketing professional, and he's a million-dollar earner, multi-million-dollar earner. So there's no shame in starting as a poser. A lot of us do. But you have to decide to move past that. You have to decide to say, okay, what's my next step into becoming an amateur? And if you're at the amateur stage, no shame in that. You've grown from the poser phase and now you're into the amateur phase and you're learning, you're seeing what this is all about and you're making some decisions. But I want y'all, as we go through this book, to make a decision if you don't feel that you are that professional yet. I want you to think about if you are ready to step into that professional, if you're ready to be a professional network marketer, and if you're ready to go pro. Okay. Let's see. You look silly. Okay. How does, I don't know. There's some questions. I want to make sure I'm asking the good ones. Okay, it says, Eric's definition of being a network marketing pro is a person who is an expert at the skills required to build a successful network marketing business. So I want you to ask yourself, what skills do you think you have right now? What are the few things that you feel like you're really good at? Is it you feel like maybe right now your skill set is you're really organized. You make a schedule. You're great at goal setting. Maybe you're great at talking. Maybe you love reaching out to people. Maybe follow-up is your thing. Maybe you love to give samples and then follow up. I want you guys, as we go into next week, I want you to think about this, and I want you to share with me next week what you think your skill set is. Where are you at? What would you think is your top skill right now? And if you're struggling in something, what are you weak at? What are some skills that you think that you need to sharpen? And I want you to think about that over this week. Okay, we're going to go into chapter 3. We're going to finish in chapter 3. Okay, it says, chapter 3, like any profession, you'll need to learn some skills, right? Bottom line, we know that we have to have a skill set to be that professional, to go pro and have that big successful business. Okay, what are those skills? He goes and talks about, he says there's 3 primary elements to your network marketing business, okay? And I'm gonna read them. It says, first, you have the company's products. If some people are successful in marketing those products and you're not, it's not the product's fault. In other words, everyone in your company has the same products to offer the public. Okay, well, I can tell you right now, if you're not successful in Plexus, it is 100% not because of our products. Because we know we have hundreds of thousands of testimonies, life-changing testimonies of people who have used our products and absolutely loved them, and they've changed their lives. So we know that it's not a lack of product. We know that we have diamond ambassadors that are selling the same thing that you are and that I am, and they have made it all the way to diamond. So we know it's not the product's fault, right? We can get that one out of the way. Second, you have the company's compensation plan. If some people are making a lot of money and you're not, it isn't the compensation plan's fault. There isn't one plan for men and one for women. There isn't a plan for different age groups or educational backgrounds or for color of your skin. The compensation plan is the same for everyone. So we know that there are hundreds of people, thousands of people that are making money, serious money, in Plexus. So we know it's not the compensation plan. We don't have a crappy compensation plan. We have, bar none, the best compensation plan that I've ever seen in network marketing. So we can scratch that off the table. It's not the compensation plan. The third element is the most important, and that element is you. You are really the only variable here. Everyone has the same product. We have the same compensation plan, but you are going to be the difference between failure and success. It's all about us. It's us making a choice and a decision to first do it, to have the belief in ourselves, to have the belief in the product and the compensation plan, to take that jump, which you all have, okay? And the next step is if you will decide to go pro, if you will make that decision to learn the skill set so you can be successful in network marketing. The choice is yours. We all have a choice. We can sit at the poser status and make excuses and wish and hope and pray that something great happens. We can sit at the amateur status and kind of, well, if I could just find that rock star, or man, my upline sucks. You know, I don't know. I don't really know that many people. We can sit there. That's never going to make us successful. Or we can say, you know what? I'm done with the poser status. I'm done with the amateur status. I am ready to go pro. I am ready to develop these skill sets. I am ready to go 100%, and I am going to be successful in this business. I'm going to finish what I've started, and I'm going to make it something great. It's our choice, okay? And that's what he's telling us here. It's our decision whether we decide to get these skills, gain these skills, and apply these skills and grow our business. The means right here and right now, you need to take full responsibility of your network marketing business. I can't tell you as a leader and as someone who is training and bringing in new people and training other people's new people and trying to rally the troops, there's nothing more frustrating than seeing awesome, amazing people just not doing anything. It's so frustrating to know that to watch people and to know, you know what, they really do see the vision. I know these people believe in the products. I know these people believe in the compensation plan, but they haven't made that decision to go pro yet. They haven't made the decision to go 100% and treat this business like a business. They haven't decided to learn these skill sets and apply them. It's frustrating to someone as a leader, because we want everybody to do that, right? We want everybody to make that decision because we know what it can bring. We know the benefits that if you will, put on your seatbelt and go 100% and make no excuses and learn these skills, we know that you will be successful, but we can't make you do it. I can't make anybody on my team learn these skill sets. I can't make them get on Zooms. I can't make them show up for meetings. I can't make them read the GoPro book and apply these steps. All I can do is present it and hope that they see that vision. And you on this call, you have taken that very first step. You have said, you know what? I have that vision and I want to learn. And so I'm going to get on Wednesday nights. I'm going to take an hour out of my life and I'm going to learn these skills. I want to apply these skills. That is your first step. Okay. So I'm so glad that y'all are here, and I'm so glad that y'all are with me in doing this book together. I think it's going to be awesome. If you're committed to building a large and successful organization, I'd like to encourage you to do something important. I'd like you to say goodbye to your upline. Call them and say something like, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. Getting into this business for myself was important, and I appreciate you introducing me to the company that you believe in and that now I believe in as well. But from now on, when it comes to building my business, I will use you as a resource, but never as an excuse. I may call you from time to time. If you're available, that's great. But if you're not, that's okay too. I'm going to build my business and understand one thing. It begins with me. If you can really wholeheartedly say that, and if you 100% have that desire to make no excuse and to say, no matter if I have that upline, no matter if I have that pat on the back, I am going to build a successful network marketing business because I want to, because I want to be a diamond. I want to have that freedom with my family. I want to be able to go to Maui with my husband and wife. Or I want to be able to live debt-free. I want to be able to, go to the grocery store without checking the checkbook first. You have to make that decision. I cannot, your upline cannot, your sidelines, your friends, you have to make that decision. And that's where it first starts. Sorry, I like your dogs. Okay, everything changes when you take full responsibility for your business. And I cannot tell you how true that is. When I spent that first year walking around, really having no idea what I was doing, loving the products, sharing them with some customers, getting silver, I wasn't taking full responsibility of my business. I was just being the poser, and maybe at the end of that year being an amateur, going to Leaders Retreat. I was like, okay, well, let me check this out. Maybe I'll sign a rock star. No, when I sat under Eric Worre and I heard that, y'all, that is the pivotal moment in my business where the light bulb went on. And I said, I don't have anyone. I have just Googled to find Allison Bro, who so happened to be in my upline. I'm like her level 14 or something. I had to Google someone just to find out who else was working in this business. But I made a decision after sitting under Eric Worre. I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. Like, I can totally do this. This is something that I can see myself doing. I came home. I sat my husband down. I said, I want to do this. Like, I'm going to really pour my heart out into this Plexus thing. I'm going to be on the phone. I'm going to be on the computer. I'm going to put all my energy into this business. And I did. I signed, I have to go back and look. I think it was 32 people in 28 days. After being in the business for a year, not doing anything. It's crazy. But the light bulb went on. The vision was born for me in Amelia Island. The vision that I saw was putting my kids through college, being able to pay for them to go to school without them having to take loans out, being able to pay off credit cards, being able to bring my husband home from the oil field. those visions were running through my head the entire time that Eric Worre was talking. And I thought, you know what? These are 7 simple steps that I can learn. And I didn't know all of them. I wasn't a master at these skills, but I came back and I started applying them. I started saying, okay, and we're gonna go into this next week. But the first one was finding prospects. I'm like, okay, what's a prospect? Who do I talk to? I don't know that many people. I started to make those excuses, and then I thought, I'm not doing it. He said, we're gonna find prospects, and that's what I'm gonna do. I didn't say, oh, I've already talked to everybody I know. I don't really know anybody. I don't really get out much. I didn't say any of that stuff. I said, I'm going to freaking learn how to find prospects. I'm going to do it. And you have to do the same thing. It's a mindset switch. It's a commitment. It's a decision that you have to make if you're ready for something different. If you're ready to make your business your passion and your profession, and you're going to treat it like a business, and you're going to clock in when you allotted that time, and you're ready to learn these skills, that is when your pivotal moment's going to happen. That's when you are going to say, bring on these 7 skills and let's learn them and let's get it done. So I'm really, really excited for next week. We're going to start with skill number 1, and we're just going to start diving in, and we're going to go through them. And we're going to talk about how to do them. We're going to talk about how to apply them specifically to Plexus. But I hope that you enjoyed this hour. I hope that we've talked about the stages of network marketing and where you might be at. I hope that your mind's running of what your perfect job would be. Maybe you have someone on your mind right now that is a complete cynic about network marketing. And tomorrow, maybe you could have this conversation. Say, hey, if you could pick any job in the world, what would it be? Just strike up the conversation and ask. If they say, I would love to be, a sportscaster for their favorite football team. And you say, okay, what are the 5 things that you would be most exciting or most beneficial about your perfect job? Get them thinking about it. Get them talking about it, and say, and at that end of that conversation, pose the question, what if I told you that network marketing could bring you all of those things? Would you consider doing it? Just have a conversation. That's going to get people thinking. That's going to get people to wonder, man, what if there is something to what Ann is saying? That's why we have those what if we could bring you that freedom. What if network marketing could bring you to be your own boss, to make your own hours, to have unlimited residual income? Would you want to do that if I could offer you that? So I want you to think about someone in your family or someone because we all know someone that either rolls their eyes every time you talk about Plexus, or has laughed at you or made fun of you, or has specifically just been negative to network marketing. I want you to hit up that person and talk about their perfect career and what they think would be the most beneficial. And I want you to flip it and ask them, if you could give them those things, would they consider it? So that's your homework. That's your homework this week. And I want you to think about where you're at. If you're at poser, if you're at amateur, if you're ready to go pro, I want you guys to think about that too. So y'all, I'm going to unmute y'all for a second here. And if you guys have questions, we will, wait a minute. Yeah. Y'all are all right. Anybody have a question real quick before we go?
No, but I have just a comment, and
Okay.
I just want to say that was extremely emotional for me. I don't know if I can say this without crying, but I just realized how full of beans I have been the last year, almost a year. And, I read these chapters, but it did not hit me like it did tonight with you explaining it. And I realized that everything Eric said about posers and amateurs is where I've been all this time. I think I moved out of poser somewhere in this time and have been an amateur because I've had so many excuses that I didn't even see was an excuse. I've sat here in Virginia and said, well, my team is in Florida for the most part. I know some of you are in Michigan and Misty's up there in Canada, but I've used that as an excuse because I can't go to your team meetings. and I didn't have a reliable car, so I couldn't even go to a meeting around here, so I couldn't even get involved, but that was like a big one for me. I didn't feel the camaraderie of Plexus, and I felt like, that was holding me back. And then I felt like, just everything about it, everything that he said in that chapter applied to me. And it did not hit me until just while you were talking that there I am. I'm a real amateur. And it just clicked. Just while you were talking, it just clicked. And it's like, but that's not where my head has been. My head has been like, no, I want this as a profession, because that's where I started out in my head. Shortly after I started taking the products was, I want this as my profession. I want to make money at this for so many real possibilities in my life. I want it as a ministry. I want to be able to help my son out and lots of other inmates that don't have the money to be able to get commissary, and that's what God put on my heart. I want my husband to be able to retire in 5 years, and yet I've let things just take over as excuses. And you always say no excuses, no excuses, but all this stuff has been nothing but excuses. And so
it's a come to Jesus moment. It's a realization that we're human, and we've all, if we're honest, and a lot of my fellow Jules are so honest and raw, and we've all been there. We've all started, even Eric Laurie started just like you, and and just like I, but the difference is that you recognize that, and that you are able to say, I'm ready to move out of that phase. Like, we've started there. I sat there for a little while, but it's not where you want to stay, Jill. And that's the key. And that's that's the win for you, is that you recognize that you're there and you're ready to move past that. And that's the key. And that's what we're going to do with this. And that's, what I wanted to do this for, is that, it's no shame in being there, because that's where the greats start. We all have to start somewhere. And so if you can recognize that, and it validates where you've been, it just shows you that you can move forward with it, and that's really my heart in doing this series. So
I want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I just want to thank you for that, because, I never questioned you as my upline, and never questioned what you did or didn't do for me, but it was all this other stuff that played in my head, all these little tapes. And so, I just, you and I talked the other day, and I've just been trying to plug ahead on what I can do and doing the basics. And I almost didn't make this meeting tonight because I've had a migraine for the last 24 hours and was really sick yesterday and today too. But I said, I have to be on this, and God knew why.
Well, good. I'm glad. And the great thing about that, Jill, is that I'm going to show you with this book, I'm going to show you with this step how you're going to move from amateur into a professional. So we're not just going to tell you need to. We're going to break down exactly how you get there, the steps that you're going to take and apply to your daily Plexus business, and even in life, really, to strengthen those personal self-development. It's all part of it. So that's what this group is going to be about. It's about recognizing where we are, being honest, because if you're not honest, you can't move from one of these into the next. You have to have, vulnerability and truth, because you can't, in life in general, you can't move forward if you don't recognize, right? You can't, if you don't acknowledge and recognize, you can't move past something. So to acknowledge, okay, man, I've been a poser. I'm going to tell you, I wanted that lottery ticket, or I was hoping for that rock star, and I'm ready to move to amateur. Or if you're at amateur and you're like, man, I blame my upline, I blamed my mom, I blamed my, my sidelines, I blamed anybody but me. That's okay. We're going to show you how to get past that and go forward into your professional network marketing business and be successful and start seeing those successful things happening. So it's good. That's good stuff. So feel excited, not sad.
This is an awesome meeting. Awesome meeting. I think it was really an eye-opener for all of us.
Good. It's for me. I mean, I needed this, believe me. I need this just like you do. Even after 3 years of this business, there is always room for growth, and there's always room for revisiting things that I may know, but I'm not practicing. And so that's me being honest to say, hey, I know these steps, but I haven't really been applying them all as of recently. So it's good for me too. And I think it's just good in general, whether you've been in Plexus for a month, a year, or 3 years. It's just always good. This is such an awesome book. It's so simplistic that it's easy to let your feeling, really feel it and really understand what he's getting at and be able to apply the things that we're reading into our business, specifically in Plexus. So I'm excited about this book, and I'm so glad that you guys are on. So can't wait for us to dive into the first skill set on next Wednesday. Anybody else?
Kelly, what chapters are we going to cover next week?
We are going to do, we are going to do 4, 5, and maybe 6. I'm going to try to get through 4, 5, and 6, but we'll see how we go. Okay, and that'll be the first 3 steps. So if we can get through it, if we dive in and we're working on one and we're really grooving, we have lots of questions and things like that, we may just get the first 2. So we'll start with chapter 4, 5. What's that?
What was our homework again?
You're going to think about where you are, which position in network marketing you are. And then you're going to go to someone that you know that has a negative connotation or negative mindset about network marketing, and you're going to talk to them about their perfect job. What would be their perfect things, and you're going to kind of get them talking about what would be their perfect job and their perfect career, and name those things that would make it perfect. Money, time, vacations, whatever they say. And then you're going to share with them that opportunity, that what we do in our business, it brings those possibilities into life. It brings those, what if network marketing could bring you all of those things? Would you be? Okay. So that's your two things I want you to think about and do this week until next Wednesday when we open up with the first step. So first 3 skills, okay? And that is starting with chapter 4. So if you don't have your book and you get your book before Wednesday, go ahead and reread the first 3 chapters if you want, or you can go ahead and read the next 4, 5, and 6, just so you can know what we're going to be talking about for next week. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Thank you for being on, and I will see you guys later.
I have one last quick question. Are you going to post these? Like, can this get posted on Jen's site for the ones that didn't get? I know Lisa and Diane and Jamie were on.
Yes, I will. I'm on my regular computer, so I can upload it right to YouTube. So I should have it up tonight.
Okay.
So I'll post it.
Will we use the same link each week?
Yes. Yep. We'll
Okay.
use the same link every Wednesday.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? What's that, Tim?
It's a real eye opener. I'm trying to see this while driving. It's pretty wild.
Well, good. That's dedication right there.
It made me think about things anyway.
Yeah.
I've been posting for a while.
Well, I'm glad you were on. I'm glad you made it, Tim.
All right, thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.